Okay, in part one of the video, we had this equation and we solved it by simplifying one side and then cross multiply. In this one, I want to show you another option, and it's an option I think is really cool because it works really, really well. You just have to look for your opportunity. So it's 4 over x plus 5 halves is equal to negative 11x. In this option, the way what you would do here is this. You would find the least common multiple of the equation. So we have a factor of x here, we have a factor of 2 here, and we have a factor of x here. So I'm looking for the least common multiple of those three, and it happens to be 2x, doesn't it? So remember, right, this is an equation here. This is an equation. So because it's an equation, the rules of algebra are not different, but it's not the same as simplifying, right? When we have an equation, whatever we do to one side, we have to do the other side with multiplication and addition, etc. So what I'm going to do here is this. So we know that the least common denominator is equal to 2x. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the equation by the least common denominator. Whoa, by the least common denominator. So what we're going to do is this. I wonder if you'll be okay with this. We said that the least common denominator is 2, so we're going to multiply everything by 2x. Look what's going to happen here. Now, I don't know where you are in algebra, but keep in mind that this is 2x over 1. So if you are looking, so we're going to distribute this thing in, aren't we? So as we distribute this thing in, it will look like this, right? We're going to distribute this in, so we're going to multiply times this, right? Times this, and times this. I would be doing the same thing with the denominator, except for the denominator is 1. It's not going to change anything, but I am aware that that would be true. So 2x times 4 is 8x, isn't it? Whoa, not good. Is 8x, isn't it? And remember that 1 times x is x, right? And then 2x times 5 is positive 10x over 2, isn't it? This x is this x, this 2 is this 2, is equal to 2x times negative 11 is negative 22x, isn't it? Remember that this x right here is this one. Some people call this technique grounding, and you'll see why in a second, because look, the denominators go to 1, don't they? X over x is 1, so we have 8, don't we? Plus 10 over 2 is 5, so 5x, isn't it? And negative 22x over x is negative 22, isn't it? Right? So we're just going to keep solving. So keep solving. If you watch the last video, when we did it the other way, doing this cross multiplication technique that we did, we ended up with an erroneous answer, right? With a kind of an extraneous answer. So keep solving here. Remember that our deal is to figure out what value of x would be. So what we're going to do here is just get rid of everything else. So we're going to add the additive inverse of 8 is negative 8. So negative 8 here, and we get 5x is equal to negative 30, isn't it? We're going to divide both sides by 5, right? Hello. Going to divide both sides by 5, so divided by 5, divided by 5, and we get x is equal to negative 6. And plug that into your equation and see if that isn't the right answer. All right, so that's option 2. If you're watching this video but you haven't watched the other one, please go back and watch the other one, because I want you to know that there are different techniques, and I just want to remember you. Remember, yes, yeah, I want to remember you also, but I want to remind you. Look for patterns. Recognize, please. Recognize solving techniques. What does that mean? Well, the way you solve for a line is not the way you solve for a quadratic. So once you realize you have a quadratic, you'll want to do something different, right? Okay, you guys, good work.